Good afternoon, tropical weather fans. This is Dr. Ryan Truschelet with your Weather Tiger Threat Focus for October 5th. Matthew is a Category 3 hurricane this afternoon as it moves over the central Bahamas with sustained winds of around 120 miles an hour. Cuba's mountains weakened Matthew modestly overnight, but those convective bursts on current satellite imagery indicate that the storm is strengthening once again. Matthew may become a Category 4 storm over the next 24 hours and is unlikely to weaken below major hurricane strength until the weekend. The good news is that model agreement has improved since yesterday as better observations of the upper level trough that will eventually turn Matthew east are flowing into models. The bad news is that the consensus is basically for a track parallel to the Florida east coast, either just inland, directly on the coast, or just offshore, before turning north, northeast, and east near the Carolinas over the weekend. At this point, Matthew is almost certainly going to pass close enough from West Palm Beach to Charleston to bring hurricane-force winds and significant surge to the immediate coast. If you live on or near the water, you should be boarded up, finishing preparations, and ready to evacuate if necessary. The big question is whether there will be any additional shift west, as even a slight change at this point makes the difference between hurricane and major hurricane-force winds on the coast and between mainly rain impacts or rain plus damaging wind impacts inland for places like Orlando. Looking at the operational 12Z Euro and 12Z Euro ensembles that have this west scenario, you can see that the surface wind field of a Friday morning landfall in Brevard County brings at least hurricane-force wind gusts well inland. I want to be clear that an inland track remains a strong possibility, and if you are in inland central Florida or South Florida, you should absolutely prepare for hurricane-force winds. However, I'm seeing some early signs that there may not be a further shift west, and Florida may be spared the very worst of Matthew. Over the past 3 hours, Matthew has actually moved north-northwest instead of northwest, as measured by reconnaissance aircraft. While this 3-hour average motion at a heading of about 330 degrees might be a wobble, you can see that Matthew's position as of 5 p.m. is now on the northern edge of both the GFS and Euro ensemble spread. That could be a good thing, as some of those northern members are the ones that eventually keep Matthew's eyewall offshore. With the Euro and GFS now having more reasonable handling of the advancing front, which is also trending a bit stronger, a lot of the remaining uncertainty is going to come down to these kind of small shifts in Matthew's direction and speed, which can still make a huge difference. An average heading of 315 degrees from here brings the hurricane directly to West Palm Beach, 320 brings it to Vero Beach, and a heading of 325 brings it to a direct landfall in Jacksonville. I think that the center will remain just barely offshore, sparing us the very worst case scenario if these trends continue. But I emphasize here that this is just a reflection of the path of the center, and significant impacts will be felt from the Keys to South Carolina, even if there is technically not a landfall, with North Carolina at somewhat lower risk today. Please keep in mind that the worst case scenario of a direct Category 4 landfall is still very, very much on the table. I'm slightly encouraged by the motion trend that I'm seeing right now, but it could also reverse easily, so please do not let your guard down. Finally, I know that there's models showing loops and a second approach of a weaker Matthew to Florida in another week, but one, I'm skeptical of that type of track, and two, let's just deal with that after we get through the next 3 days, okay? Stay safe, stay focused on finishing your preparations, stay informed, and above all, stay calm. I'll be back tomorrow, and in the meantime, this is Dr. Ryan Truschelet. Keep watching the skies.